Welcome back to Gaming in the Basement. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. And if you're interested in hearing more, don't forget to listen to part 1 of this interview. Let's continue.
So what made you get involved in streaming?
Well, so in 2021, I kind of made the decision that I was going to take a year off from work and either take a new path in life or, just whatever happens, happens. And so I stopped working in like December of 2021. But as this last year progressed, I realized I was missing the social aspect of my last job because I used to work in a bar. So I met a lot of people. I met a lot of girls because my job before that, it was male dominated. So there weren't very many females that I had as coworkers. So yeah, I realized I was missing the social aspect. And since I wasn't working, I was playing PlayStation a lot, like way more than I probably should have. So I realized that I wanted to meet new people, specifically more gamer girls, because we're few and far between, honestly. And just more people who are passionate about video games because I play, like I said, my husband plays, I got my brother into it, a lot of our close friends play games. And so I believe the universe worked its magic. And I was playing every morning for like 2 months with the squad that I met on Apex. And the girl in the squad actually used to stream. So she was, giving me details and telling me this and that about it. And she was like, you should give it a shot. Like, just give it a try. What do you have to lose? She's like, you can make money, you can get grants, you can do this, like you can get sponsored. And I'm like, well, I mean, I'm at home, I'm not making money, and I'm playing games anyway. I want to meet people, so why not? And so I give it a go, and here we are today. I'm doing an interview about it, and I honestly think it was like one of the best decisions I made last year because I took a leap of faith.
I'm certainly glad you started streaming because we do need more, and I feel like it's nice to see you play games that are mostly male-dominated games, like first-person shooters.
Yeah, because after being in this world and networking and finding new people, I'm like, man, there's a lot more girls that play Apex out there than I realized. Like, I just never came across any of them. So I'm just super grateful for that because it makes you feel like you're less alone because it is guys. It's always guys that are playing Call of Duty or this, that, and the other. Like, none of my girlfriends play Apex or video games at all. So it's like I'm already kind of alone in that aspect. So that was kind of the motivation of getting involved, was to meet more people who actually loved it like I did. Like, I wanted to dedicate 2 or 3 hours a day playing a game that they love, no matter how mad it made them. And I found y'all. I found my people. I'm so happy.
I feel the same way because, like you said, my girlfriends, they don't play. My sister, she doesn't play. Like, I'd love to play with my sister. And I was lucky I have a cousin that she plays, kind of connected that way. But you don't really see many female gamers while you're just playing on your own. And Twitch is nice because it kind of brings you together and brings those people to you, so you can
And you
meet
can
them.
talk with them. You can kind of like gauge them for yourself. Like, you don't have to have a match with them and be like, oh, she was a big B, or man, oh, that girl was cool. You don't have to do that. You can sit there and watch their stream. They don't have to know if you're watching. And if you like her, you're just like, well, let me let her know, like, I think her stuff is cool, or hey, she, GG's or something, and kind of like plant the seeds. And I think that's the beauty of Twitch, is you can plant those seeds where you want to. You're not just like obligated to meet all these girls who game and half of them you like and the other half you don't. You can really pick who you want to interact with.
So how would you describe your streaming style?
Oof. I think kind of like how my little Twitch bio says it, like I'm just an herbal refreshment loving goober or something of that sense. But I just try to keep it easygoing and fun. Like, obviously, I'm gonna partake most of the time unless I'm taking a little tolerance break or something. But as you've seen, I get a little silly when I smoke and I can get a little distracted. So you're more than likely just gonna catch me acting weird, which is all part of the fun. Like, that's how I am in real life when I smoke. That's how I'm gonna be online when I smoke. I just hope that I'm entertaining and y'all want to like stick around and talk to me,
Yeah, I feel like it's really relaxed, and you don't have to present yourself as somebody that you're not. You're just like really relaxed in your stream, and that's what I like about it. You can just really be yourself without being judged.
Yeah, no, that's definitely part of like my mindset with it, is I don't want to portray myself as somebody that I'm not, in the instance that I ever meet you or any of the people from the Discords or stuff like that, you know? Like, I don't want to seem like I'm one way online and then you meet me in real life and you're like, oh my God, no. Like, I don't want to interact with this girl at all. Like, she's so fake. That's how that comes across, as this person's acting fake.
Yeah.
And I just try to be as genuine as I can be.
I think that's a big part of Twitch, that you can really be who you are. But then some people have like personas that they only act like online too. So I guess you could do either
Mhm.
or.
Yeah, but I mean, if you disclose like this is just who Smokehontasx is online. Like, I'm totally not like this in person, but take it or leave it, you know? But
Yeah.
I think if you don't like kind of put it out there, that's where you do yourself a disservice in the event that you meet like your followers, or you do some kind of meetup or something with your friends and they're just kind of like, "Oh, this isn't real. This isn't who you are at all."
So do you have a favorite stream that you like to think back on?
Oof. So I guess there's like two that kind of come to mind. And I told you like it's hard for me to pick favorites. So
Oh yeah.
so the first one that I think about a lot was really fun, and I can't remember exactly when it was, but I thought it was a lot of fun and memorable because it was one of my best games, and I was live, and I had people like actively in the chat. So, you know how you get like lurkers and you don't necessarily know if they're lurking, you just know they're kind of like half active, half not.
Yeah.
So it was an Apex game, and I did 2,000 damage with Fuse, and
Holy
we
moly.
won the game. And once the game was over, you know, sometimes you'll get like a GG, or sometimes you get no response and you're like, oh, nobody was paying attention. That's cool, but I'm gonna clip it later. And so it was one of those moments where I was like, oh my God, like it was an intense showdown to the end. And then we ended up winning. And then I saw my damage, and then the chat was going off. And it was just super memorable because like all the pieces were falling in place, and you're like, oh my gosh, like this is so cool. Like, people watching me kick ass right now. And so that was definitely a favorite. That was one of my earlier ones, I want to say. And the most recent would be I got a level 4 hype train, I think last week or the
Oh
week
wow.
before. Yeah, and no, it was last week, duh, because I made a video on it. But yeah, so I ended up getting this hype train, and they pushed it all the way to level 4, and that was like the craziest thing that's ever happened. Like, that was the most bits at once. That was the best hype train, like subs, like everything was so cool. And that one was just memorable because it was just like a handful of people like constantly giving me bits and subs. And I was just so baffled that, you know, like 4 or 5 people just liked me enough to keep doing that. And so that one was really special because it had never happened before.
That sounds really special, especially if it was only 4 or 5 people and you got to level. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I was like, you guys, please stop. Like, y'all are doing way too much. Like, at that point, I don't even know what to say. I'm just over here cheesing and like, is this really happening?
The first instance you mentioned about like you were playing Apex and everything fell into place, and that was like one of your favorite streams. You ever
Mhm.
like played a game and you just dominated and you're just like, damn, I wish I was streaming.
Yes. Oh my gosh, all the time. So that or I started recording my clips before I was streaming because I was like, I'll just make little compilations of my work and, you know, put it on Instagram or whatever. And like there were so many games that I played that I didn't record, or it didn't actually record it, or thought, dang it, if I just would have kept streaming, like this one would have been on stream before. So yeah, definitely a ton of missed opportunities there, but it is what it is. Can't go back and change it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been there too.
I'm sure we've all been there. We're like, man, this would have made really great content, but here we are.
Yeah, exactly. So, as a female streamer, what challenges do you have or have you faced that you feel like male streamers just don't have to deal with?
Ooh, oh gosh. So personally, I think girls have to prep themselves a little bit more for a stream, both mentally and physically. Like mentally, in my head, I'm always thinking like, does my face look weird if I'm in the zone? Like, am I being feminine enough, or is someone gonna insult the way I look or my voice or just how I'm playing in general? And so like that's one layer, and then you think about like the physical, like am I cute enough today? Do I need to do my hair, my makeup, put on a cute outfit? How is this camera angle? Like, does it give me a double chin, you know? And I think that's something that only females tend to have to deal with. In my experience, I think guys got it a little bit easier on that note just because they can just get up, clean their face, put on a shirt, and just they're gonna play games. They're not gonna worry how this person thinks I look or how I'm playing or if they talk shit today. They can just game in a comfort zone, I guess you could say. But it's not like we
Yeah.
have to do all that stuff, but we know as females it helps our growth. So it's something that we do.
I mean, I feel like women as a whole were always judged on how we look. So it definitely there's another dimension to it that they don't have to deal with. I agree with that.
Yeah, because when I watch a guy stream, it's not necessarily do I find this guy attractive? It's more of like, what is he playing? And do I like, what he's saying, how he talks to the chat, what he's saying? Is he always raging or is he just never talking? Like, I'm not picking based on a look. And I think sometimes guys pick like, oh, is this girl cute or do I not find her attractive? And that determines whether or not they're gonna click on you.
I think that's true too. I think sometimes it doesn't have anything to deal with it, but I feel like more often than not it does.
Yeah, more for guys picking a female than girls picking a male streamer.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I mean, I could be wrong. That's just how I see it. That's kind of what I've noticed. But I mean, on the opposite side of that, I've seen guys that struggle with views or follows or getting subs more than the females do because they don't necessarily have the pretty aspect, I guess, to bring to the table. It's more of like a personality thing for guys.
Yeah.
So I think there's struggles on both ends, but definitely the physical and the mental on the lady side.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one reason why I don't really have a webcam. It's just you only have so much time.
Exactly. And that's something I have to consider too. That's why I started without a camera because I didn't want to have to put on makeup or do my hair a certain way or make sure I'm wearing pants and a bra that day. Like if I just want to wake up, pick up my controller and start playing for 3 hours, I want to do it. But then it
Hmm.
starts becoming more of a chore when like, well, I don't look the best and I should probably brush my hair and it's just a toll on its own. It sucks.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
So, as a streamer, what is something you think is very important and a core principle of your streaming philosophy?
Definitely don't take the fun out of it. Streaming shouldn't feel like a job or a chore, and I feel like maybe I'm just saying that because I haven't worked for the last year, and I don't want to throw myself into something full time like that. If I do something, it's because I'm passionate about it, not because I have to or someone expects me to. And so with streaming, I just don't want to take the fun out of it. I don't want to, like I said, have to do makeup and stuff all the time. There's going to be days I run with no camera, and then there's going to be days where I do run with a camera. But that's because I'm on my rules for it. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to make sure it doesn't feel like a chore because then it's not fun and then it in a sense ruins the aspect. I don't want to ruin that because I decided to become a streamer.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that is kind of a scary thought. Like, at what point does that change? Like, if you get super popular and become partner and then it becomes a job, does that take the fun out of it? Because there's certain things you have to do.
Yeah, definitely because I didn't get into streaming to make money. Like that wasn't the goal. I honestly did not think I'd even become an affiliate. So to know that it's already kind of jumped a little bit further than I expected, it's like okay, like I'm not saying I'm going to get big, but if I did, it might make me want to pull back more because then, like I said, it becomes a chore and it's not fun anymore. Like streaming is supposed to be fun to meet the people and watch them play and be silly and have a good time and maybe de-stress with people. But if it's like, oh, I have to get up at this time to do this, to be on at this time, and then I have to play for 4 hours and talk to people, and then I can go about my day. Like, no, I don't want to look at streaming that way. It's gonna ruin it for me. So the simpler the better, keep it simple.
So, what are your thoughts on the current state of video games?
I don't really keep up with like gaming news or things like that. I'm just happy that going from a child, the industry has grown insanely. It's worth so much money and a lot of people play video games. I think it's kind of like a great unifier in its own way. But just overall, I'm happy that it continues to grow. I'm happy that new games come out, and like VR coming out was like a breakthrough, and now they're trying to do what, metaverse. I don't even know how that all works, but it's just cool to see the progress of where it's was when I was like an 8-year-old little girl to like a 30-year-old person. I'm sure our parents never would have thought, like, oh yeah, because like my husband, his dad would always tell him like, you're wasting your time playing games, but he wanted to design games and this and that. And it's like, if you would have just let him pursue that, who knows what he would have done? You know, who knows if he would have designed something or like the next big thing. But because our parents thought it was just a waste of time and you're playing on the TV, it's kind of like, is it though? Because look at it now, mom. Look at it now.
It's a billion-dollar industry. Like,
Easy.
what can they say to that? What can they say to that?
Yeah, exactly. It may not be necessarily like the path that they would want their child to take, I guess, but you know, sometimes you just got to take a chance on certain things, and there's that breakthrough, and then it becomes the norm. Like people had to take a chance on games at a certain point, and now look at it. There's a console in like every house.
Do you have any tips that you would give to your like past self now when you first started streaming?
The main one I can think of is don't worry about your damn overlay so much, because I can get hyper focused on things, and then time goes by and I'm like, did you really just waste X amount of hours doing this? And so that was a lot of like my beginning, was fussing with that damn overlay and understanding light stream. And if I would have just done it the simple PlayStation with the chat on the side and a little picture, I would have been just fine. But I didn't. I
Yeah.
had to complicate it.
Well, I think it's important to go through those processes and learn. For one, you can pass on your information to other people who might not know. But also, like, it's about the journey, and I'm sure you learned a lot along the way.
Oh my gosh, for sure. That's the only reason I feel like it was like a necessary evil. Like I did it to myself, but I also learned so much that now I can pass it on, like you said, or I can just improve or whatever. I just think it was totally worth the time I put into it, because I wouldn't have found out any other way. And I think having an overlay and all that is not necessary, but for me, liking aesthetics and putting out a certain vibe and customizing, yeah, it was necessary for me. I've just suffered through it.
So we're just about at the end. I have a surprise question for you.
Okay.
So if Jax and Toki were able to talk all of a sudden, what do you think they would say to you?
Oh my god. Oh geez. Feed me and let me outside, lady. Get off your
Yeah.
butt and let me outside.
Yeah, it sounds
But
like they like going outside.
oh yeah, well, because we live in a tiny house, and so it's essentially like an 8 by 22 foot trailer. It's like about 14 feet tall if you can kind of build the rectangle in your head.
Mhm.
So they're inside a lot, but they're not like full on outside cats. They really like being on our patio because we have really big like screen kind of windows.
Oh, okay.
So they like to look, and we live in the country, so there's birds and squirrels and dogs walking around. And yeah, that would probably be their biggest thing, is like give me treats and let me outside. But thankfully, when I'm streaming, they know like, oh, she's doing that thing. Let's just go lay down. And so they don't really fuss me during that time.
That's pretty amazing.
They've learned. They're not gonna get their way by creating a fuss. So
I was trying to stream yesterday, but my cat, she was just like, "This is my lap," and I wanted to play Tekken, and I need my fight stick
oh.
on my lap. So I ended up playing Apex for a little bit, just because like
Like,
she just didn't
nope,
want to
not
move, and she was so
today.
cute, like I couldn't move her.
Oh, same thing. I'll get stuck in a position because of those dang cats laying on me a certain way, or I'm like, oh, if I move the bed a certain much, like they're not gonna like it, and they're gonna get up and run. They'll lose their cute sleepy space, and that's just terrible to do to a cat.
It
They're
it
so
really
precious.
is. You don't want to wake them up.
Yeah, you're stuck there. It is what it is. You gotta just do it. I don't
Yeah.
care if your foot falls asleep. You gotta stay there till the cat wakes up.
Thank you so much for being with us today. I really enjoyed our interview. Did you have any final thoughts? And could you list out your socials?
Final thoughts, you're awesome. Like I
Oh,
told you in our message, I just find you to be really special and like close to my heart because, like I
that's
said
so
before,
sweet.
I was looking for girl gamers and more people online and stuff, and you weren't a bot on Twitter, and you were nice, and you fell into the community that I fell into. So I'm just grateful to have met you, and I really appreciate when you pop into my streams, even if it's just at the end sometimes.
I know. I have the worst timing.
We both do. Like I've done that to several people too. Still worries. But yeah, I just appreciate, you staying in contact with me and you just being a chill person. You're super sweet. And that you wanted to do the interviews, and I'm the first girl, so I think that's super special.
It is
And
super special. And yeah, I wasn't sure about Twitter at first because I've never used it, but I was
same.
really happy to meet you on there. And I didn't think anything would come of it, but I really do enjoy your streams and I wish I could be around more. Everybody
Well, thank
streams
you.
at the same time, and the more streamers you meet, like the harder it becomes.
Seriously, I struggle with that like every day. So,
Yeah,
because then
same.
I don't want them to feel like they're being neglected. Like, oh, Smoke hasn't been around in like a week. It's like, no, I'm sorry, life just didn't match up. Like, I promise I still like you.
Yeah, exactly. Like it gets to a point where you're like walking around with your phone and you're lurking in somebody's stream and you're doing like fun things. It really just kind of bleeds into your actual life, you know?
Yeah. But it's a good thing because you have to network in this world, and I think that's beautiful because I didn't know how to grow myself, I guess, online. I didn't know how to make people aware that I existed, but obviously being on Twitter and just like taking a chance and talking to somebody can lead to something, which I think is awesome. But yeah, I don't want to go on too much about that. But yeah, networking is super important, and so I'm glad I'm able to meet with you and talk with you and catch the streams and catch your people's streams and whatnot. And it's just this ever evolving like expansion of people I'm meeting. And I think that's amazing because I never would have expected this like 4 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, same. Like it's kind of crazy how many people you can meet just from streaming.
Yeah, no, I really did not think I would meet the amount of people I did, get the followers I have, like what is on, just Twitch, Instagram, or Twitter. Like I never really thought any of that was possible but sometimes you got to take that chance, and I did.
Well, you're very sweet and I appreciate you so much. Before we go, could you just list out your socials so people know where to find you?
Okay, the easiest way is to just follow my Twitch. So twitch.tv/Smokehontasx. That's SMOKEAHONTASX. That will link you to my Instagram and my Twitter account because I've had to jumble letters and put dots in TTV. So I'd rather just send you to my Twitch and let you click on the link and find me that way.
It was really a treat to sit down with Smokehontasx. I hope you enjoyed our interview. I'm always looking for female gamers to interview, so if you know of any, please let me know. My music today was brought to you by DJ Kern. Check out her SoundCloud. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen. For more content, visit my Patreon or feel free to drop by my Twitch to say hi. Thank you so much for listening and keep gaming.
Because if you're not, it can get crazy real quick. Like your mind will go there for you, and you don't want to. You don't want your cats talking to you. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I know. Yeah,
like,
it
man,
was
I feel
weird. They
weird.
were
That's
talking to
funny.
me, but I saw like colors around them. They like had auras. It was weird because I've never had an experience like that since. Like maybe it was laced with something, but I got it in a store, and like the rest of the pack wasn't like that.
Weird. Maybe it was just in your head.
It could have been like maybe since that was like my first experience. That's just how my brain adjusted to it.
Yeah, you maybe just like overdid it in your brain, and you're like, oh my god, this is all happening, but really it's not.